guys, welcome back to Listen, I Have an Idea. Today is day 5 of NaNoWriMo, and it is way too cold outside for me to be wearing this shirt, but you know what? I really like the shoulders, so I'm just gonna go for it. Yesterday was a super productive day for me. I ended up writing quite a little bit of words, and I ended up planning the rest of my novel. Now, this is something I've been struggling with for pretty much the past year. I didn't really know what the ending of my book was going to be, but something just hit me yesterday, and I ended up planning not only the ending, but the big climactic scene, and about 10 to 12 chapters that I'm going to write for the end of the book, which will hopefully sustain me for the rest of this writing month. So I figured I'm going to dedicate this video to inspiration. It's something that we can all use, and hopefully some of these tips will help you guys. I'm not only going to be sharing tips with you, but I also figured I would share some of my personal stories with you as well. Tip number 1 is to be aware of your surroundings. Sometimes inspiration can hit wherever you are. So that means if you're at a park, sometimes there could be something there that you didn't necessarily think would be interesting or fit into your book, but something just gives you that burst of inspiration, a little bit of knowledge, and you can build upon that. Tip number 2 is to people watch. This one is kind of creepy, but honestly, if you're just to go to a mall or to a library or to a cafe and just sit and listen and observe the people, sometimes they can give you, like I've been saying, a burst of inspiration. You can sometimes find a little personality character traits that work really well for your characters. Also, sometimes the scenarios and the conversations are just so funny just to listen in randomly. Back when I was in high school, I ended up doing this after school improv group, and one of the things that we had to do was go out in the world and listen to conversations, eavesdrop, and then write down the conversations and bring that back to the group. And what we did was we ended up writing an entire script based on these found conversations, and it was the funniest thing ever. Some of the conversations people have are just crazy weird. Tip number 3, if you are lacking for a little bit of inspiration, go watch your favorite movie or go read your favorite book. Sometimes this is quite time intensive, especially if you're going to be reading a book, but just watching something that you love will help you remember why you love it. So if you are stuck writing a book and you're like, oh, I don't like the way that this is worded, what would one of my favorite authors do? Go read some passages from them. Sometimes reading other people's writing helps you write better. Tip number 4 is to carve out some time each day to think about what you're going to be writing. I know that for myself, my commute is about half an hour each day, so I like to take that time to think about what I'm going to be writing, and if ever a really interesting idea comes up, I write it down right away because I am the worst for forgetting everything. Tip number 5 is to use social media to your advantage. I have a board on my Pinterest page, and I have a folder, I think it's like a saved folder in my Instagram, where I save a whole bunch of photos, stuff that reminds me of my story, stuff that I might find interesting, or just pictures of things that I could possibly use in the future in my narrative. I figure what I'm going to do today is share with you what my Instagram file folder, saved folder, whatever looks like. So this is what it looks like. I have a whole bunch of different folders here, but I call it Storybook just because I don't have an actual title for my book yet. So as you can see, I have a ton of different things on here, and not all of them are related to the book that I'm writing. I am planning on making it a series, and I haven't started planning any of the other books. So as I've been going through Instagram, the Explorer page, I've come across a few photos that I think might work with a potential storyline that I'm going to be writing. So as you can see here, I have a few different Christmassy ones. I have this one right here, which kind of reminds me of the town square scene location that I have in my book. I like that it's winter because my story is of course based in the North Pole, and I love the way that the buildings are shaped and the colors of them. I have certain things like some watercolor drawings because if I were to illustrate the book, it would be in a watercolor style. No, Emily! Can I FaceTime you back in a little bit? Okay, let's move on. So that's pretty much it for my board. It's nothing too special. I don't have a lot saved here. Sometimes scroll through there just to see what I have, to see if some inspiration strikes. Now, one of the other things I wanted to share with you was something that I actually drew myself, and this is a basic map of what my world looks like. I wasn't planning on sharing it with you guys, but this is one of the things where I started planning it out in my head, figuring out the logistics of what the world would look like, and I figured it would be easiest just to draw it. And once I started drawing it, the inspiration just took over, and I planned my entire world in less than an hour. So this is what my entire page looked like. It started out with just a basic circle, and then I started drawing squiggly lines. And the first thing I did was I drew this random circle right here. I'll actually show you a rendering of what I did in Photoshop. So as you can see, there is the mountain kind of right in the middle, and that's where I based everything out of. I knew that the mountain was going to be kind of northern in this circle, and then the hub would be right in the middle. I also included this thing called the pond and a river, and I know it looks like a spoon. So once I drew up the main idea of what it was gonna look like, I ended up putting in all of the names of the places, naming them, defining them, and then I added some color. Now the colors that are on the map right now are actually inspired by the feeling that I get when I think about each specific area. So take Forest Hill, for instance. That is the place where my main character lives, and whenever I think of Forest Hill, I think of course, the forest, and that olivey, sagey green is the perfect color that describes it. Now, one of the other things that I did as well is I came up with a train system for my world, and the best way that I could describe it or figure out the logistics of it was to draw it as well. So I came up with this basic system. There's about 7 trains that run, and I color coded it, and I think it works really well. So that's pretty much it for my video. Now for the question of the day. What has inspired you guys recently to start writing? And what inspired you to write your book in the first place? Anyways, thank you very much for watching. I will see you guys tomorrow with NaNoWriMo Day 6. Until then, keep writing. Bye!